Okay, so today's topic is going to be about the configuration of Mikrotik router board. Okay, we are going to configure a Mikrotik router board, and the particular version we are going to configure is the 951 series. That is what is going to be configured. Okay, so when it comes to Mikrotik, we have several means of accessing the Mikrotik. You can access it through the web interface. You can access it through the Winbox. You can access it through SSH. You can access it through FTP port. You can access it through the MAC address. Okay, but in this case I'm going to use the Winbox version 3.27. That's what I'm going to use. So this is my Winbox. When you open your Winbox, you need to always click on my neighbors. Yes, there you find the IP address and MAC address of your router. So click on it and then connect. By default, Mikrotik routers are pre-configured. From the manufacturer, they are pre-configured. So in today's topic, we are going to do a customized configuration. We are going to set up our own network. We are going to make sure we have internet access in our router. That's the main purpose for today. Then in the subsequent days, we are going to go into the features and its capabilities. Okay, so we get into the router. Okay, so as I told you, it was pre-configured from the manufacturer, so it already has an IP in it. But we are going to do a customized configuration. We are going to do everything one by one, and so we need to reset the whole router with no default configuration. Yes, so what you have to do is come to System and then go to Reset Configuration, and then highlight No Default Configuration and click on Reset Configuration and click on Yes. So this will take effect. Yes, it is rebooting. It's still processing. Okay, I guess it's up now. I need to search it again. Okay, so as you can notice here, because we did a reset with no default configuration, we don't have any IP appearing here. All we can see is the MAC address, and there is no way you can connect to it by clicking on the IP address. If I should click on the IP address, it's never going to find me until I click on the MAC address. Okay, sorry, let me open it up again. So this is it. I get into it. Now, when you get into the router, you need to first of all look out for the packages you are going to work with. These packages are the features you are going to be working with. Examples are the hotspots, the user manager, the interfaces like the Wi-Fi interface. Yes, these are the things you are going to work with, and you can only find it in the system tab. Okay, so you come to system and then you find packages. Now when you come to packages, you just need to look through and see if you have all your packages intact here, as in the features you are going to work with, like DHCP advanced tools, hotspot, MPLS, PPP, routing, security, system, and wireless. Okay, we don't have user manager here, but on the day we are going to work with a user manager, I will definitely have to download a user manager file and upload it here. Okay, so this is confirmed that we have all the tools we are going to work with for now. So I need to drag it here somewhere. Okay, the next thing is I need to set an IP, so I need to set a network address. Okay, and in this case, what I want to achieve is I'm going to set network addresses on about 4 ports. On this router it has 4 ports. It's 5 ports actually, but by default I'm going to use port 1 for the internet coming in. Okay, I'm going to use port 1 for the internet coming in, and the rest of the ports I'm going to configure networks on each port. Later I will put it in a bridge mode as well, so that you guys can understand the concept. So I have my IP address list here. So I start. I'm going to configure my first IP, which is 192.168. So I'm using IP address C. Yeah. Dot 0.1/24 on ETA 2, because I said we are going to start giving network addresses from ETA 2 to the last one, which is ETA 5. So I apply it and then we move on to the next one, which is 192. Mind you, the IP address I'm giving out here is my own IP address, like I want my network to be. Okay, .1.1/24 interface on port 3. Then you apply. Then you come to the next one, 192.168.2.1/24. I locate the interface and it's port 4. Apply and OK. I go to the last one, 192.168.3.1/24. Yes. Okay, so in this case, okay, so the plan is I don't have a modem here to get access to internet. I'd rather use my phone as a hotspot. So in this case, wireless interface is going to bring in the internet, and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so we are done with this one. You drag it here. The next thing is to configure your DNS. I hope you all understand what DNS is. So I'm putting Google DNS here as an example, or if you have any DNS you can put it there. Okay, by default this one is allowed, allow remote requests is allowed, but I'll advise you to uncheck it, and then you apply it. Okay, so we are done with our DNS here. Okay, just pay attention to what I'm doing. The next thing is to configure a DHCP server. DHCP server, you can find it in IP DHCP server. You know, we need automatic IPs on our various machines, on our desktop, laptops, our tablets and stuff. So we need to configure a DHCP server and assign them onto it. So the first thing we do is to configure a DHCP server on we are going to set up our DHCP server according to the networks we have here. Sorry, let me change my mouse so that you guys can see it clearly. Okay, so that at least you appreciate what I'm trying to do here. I need a good one. Okay, so this is what we do. So you select the interface and then move on to the next instruction. So this is this DHCP space. The next thing is to the gateway, the range of IP, I mean the pool, the DNS servers, the list time, meaning the time, the time period the DHCP server must release an IP address to a host. That's the duration it's talking about. That's for 10 minutes. Meaning if the DHCP server assigns you an IP address for this period, and maybe you leave the network and you want to join back to the network, it's going to assign you a different IP because you've left the time in which it was assigned that the DHCP server should assign an IP address. Okay, so we move on to the next one. Successful. The next thing is to continue configuring of the remaining networks and ports. Networks and ports. Okay, and then so we move on to port 3, which is the next network we need to configure. So the same thing we did to the first network applies to the second one as well. Then you do the third one, which is port 4. the same thing applies. Then you move on to the last instruction. So now we are on the last one, which is Ethernet port 5. Okay, so now we are done. We are done with our DHCP server. Okay. Now if I should reboot it, it's going to assign me an IP address. And how do I check that? I'm going to use the command line way of checking an IP address of your system. Okay, which is the IP config. That's what I'm going to use. Now the router is rebooting, so I need to wait for a while. I guess you heard some beep, right? Yes, it's up now. So let me quickly reconnect. Yes. Okay, so I said I'm going to check if I've been assigned a DHCP IP address, IP config. Oh yes, I've been assigned an IP address, and this is it. This is my gateway. Okay. Yes, I've been assigned an IP address. So confirmed. And if you want to know that you've been assigned an IP address within the router, you always come to leases, and then you will be able to see the host MAC address, the host IP address, and you can know whether they are active or not, or they are idle, by opening the list tab. So basically this is what you're going to see. Yeah. Okay, so this option, we are done with it. The next thing we are going to do is to make sure we have internet. Okay, let me open it. Sorry. Let me place it here. So the next thing we are going to do is to make sure we have internet coming in to the router. Okay, that's the next thing we are going to do, to make sure we have internet coming in into the router, and then from the router to any host on that particular network. If I talk about host, I mean computer, laptop, mobile phone, or any wireless device that has computing capabilities. That's the meaning. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to enable my hotspot on my phone, and then I can connect from there. So I'm turning on my internet and Wi-Fi. Okay, I've turned it on. Okay, so before I do that, before I connect to the Wi-Fi as my source of internet, okay, and in this case there are several means by which one can bring internet into the router board. Through the wireless means, you can bring it through the Ethernet ports, through the fiber ports, through USB ports. These are the means by which you can bring in internet into the router board. Okay, so we are going to use the wireless, I mean the Wi-Fi interface, as our main internet or gateway. That's what we're going to use. So I need to go to the wireless tab and enable it. I need to enable it. It's enabled. Now need to go to IP, DHCP client, and then configure the main internet coming in or the gateway as a Wi-Fi interface, and apply. I need to enable it because it's disabled. Then the next thing is to come to quick set. Okay, this is what you are going to see. If you watch up here, there are other things you can quickly do on the quick set. It's the quick set is a kind of summary for various configurations you are supposed to go into each tab and do. This is just a simplified, interface. So you have your CP here, you have your point-to-point bridge AP, you have point-to-point bridge CP, ISP AP, home AP, basic AP, home mesh cap, But in this case, we want to use a router as a CPE. Now I guess you guys understand what a CPE is. Client premises equipment, that's the meaning. Okay, so we are going to use this as our main source of internet coming in. Now, I want us to change this wireless band into this, so that in case same thing as this one, the channel width. Okay, alright, I just leave the country as default. This is my network. I need to connect to it. Let me hide my password before anybody hacks into it. Okay. Now, bingo, I'm in. I've connected my hotspot to the router board, and I have my Ethernet gateway IP address here. I have it here. The next thing is to apply, and okay. Oh, sorry, I have a little okay, it's applying. Okay, I'm not done. Okay. I can see you are seeing double stuff here. Don't be confused, it's the same thing. Okay. So let's connect to it right here. Okay. So we've achieved one thing, but we are not done yet. We've been able to connect the gateway to the router. The next thing is to check if you have internet working inside the router board. So this is what I'm going to use to check this domain name, or I can just check with a domain name yahoo.com and apply. Oh, sorry, I've not done something yet. I need to go to the NAT, the firewall NAT rule, and then configure a NAT rule in here. I'm coming. Alright, so I need to check if there's internet flowing in here. So I type in this domain name, domain IP, sorry. I enter. Okay, good. I have internet flowing in to the router, but it wouldn't work sorry, yes, there is no way it's going to work here. It's not going to work on the any host machine. Like the internet is not going to work on any host machine until I have configured. Yes, so it's not working. Okay, until I have, but it's working in the router. Okay, so the next thing is to configure a firewall NAT rule and tell the router that it should recognize any network coming from outside, and so it should pass internet through the router to any host that connects to it. So you need to click on the add sign, source NAT action, and then you click on masquerade, and then you apply, and then internet start flowing in. So if we come here, we have internet flowing in. This is the basic way of configuring internet in a router board. This is how you can bring in internet into a router board. This is the means you can achieve that. This is the best mean, and this is a very simple way of doing that. Okay, now the next thing we need to do is to configure a firewall rule to accept incoming internet traffic. Also configure a rule to accept input to the router board if one wants to access it, and also allow resources and services to be accessed outside. Now there are other things one needs to take note of in terms of the security of this router board. Okay, in case you notice some rogue IP that is trying to access your network, okay, in suspicious ways, and you are not comfortable with it, all you need to do is to look at the IP, come here and configure a rule, a forward rule, destination IP. You give it blah blah blah, maybe this, yeah, maybe this. Okay, maybe you are blocking the entire network from that side. Yes, maybe this is what you know. You do this, and then you click on drop. Error destination IP address. Okay, maybe .4 or .2. Alright, error. That's fine. Yeah. Let me try this and see. Okay. So it's rather source address instead of destination address. You choose source address, and then you drop the rule. This is what you do for most suspicious IPs. This is exactly what one must do. If you suspect a particular IP, you can just always block them from here. Okay. The next thing is to go to your IP services. This is critical. These are the various means by which you can access the Mikrotik RouterBoard. These are the various means you can access it. Okay, but there are certain ports you might not be needing it to work with. Okay, so the best thing is to do what, to block them, or possibly change the port numbers if you want to be secured on your network. This is what you must do. So I'm going to select a few of them and then disable them because I'm not going to work with them. And these are the ones I've selected, so I've disabled it now, and also disable the telnet, and change the port number of www. Yes, I've changed the port number of that. If I want, I can still change the Winbox, but I'm leaving in that default because we are just doing a test. The next thing is to configure your password. This should have been done from the earlier point. It should have been done from the beginning, but it's not too late to also do it now. So let me configure the password for it. Alright, so I've configured my password. Let me log in again and see. It will never allow me until I put in my username and password. So now I'm putting in the password. Okay, now it has allowed me in. Now it has allowed me in. So this is the basic way you can successfully configure a router board, any Mikrotik router board, because most of the interfaces are the same thing like this. Yes, maybe a few features, but it's always like this. Yes, you can even go all the way to customize the router board and give it a unique name. You understand? OWUUBII. You see? You can give it a name, a unique name, and this is what will appear here. This is what you are going to see. Okay? OWUUUBII. And this is what, should I be on any network, this is what will be seen as a host. Okay? So basically, we've come to an end of the lesson, and this is how you can configure a router board. This is how you can achieve a successful configuration of a router board. Lest I forget, I said we were going to configure bridge network as well. Okay, but that will be for another day. No, okay, let me just do it. Alright, so on the bridge network, because we configured a DHCP server on each port, we need to disable those DHCP servers, or yes, to delete them. So what I'll do is to delete them and delete all the networks associated with it. But before I do that, I need to make sure I'm doing the right thing. So I need to delete everything from the other port except port 2, because port 2 is the main. Okay, port 2 is the main. Let's say the master. The rest of the ports are going to be slaves. Okay, now I'm done with it, but let me look out for these ones, these ones, these ones, these ones. Okay, I've cleared it off. Alright, I'm good good to go. So the next thing one needs to do is to configure a bridge. And this is how we configure a bridge network. Okay, so you add the bridge, and I give it a name. Give it any unique name. You apply, okay, and then you add the ports. Yes, so it is from port 2 to port 5. Yes, you add them up. Add them up. Port 2 to port 5. Okay, so I think that is it. Okay, so these are lest we forget, the next thing we need to do is to change the interface here to the bridge interface. Then we apply and okay, then that's it. So now we were able to achieve networks on different ports of the router board. This is the interface. If I may show you, sorry, this is the interface. About 5 ports, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The wireless is the means by which I'm bringing in the internet, so I'm not adding it. But now so earlier what we did was to create networks on each port here, but now we've taken all those networks out of these ports, bridged them into one network, and this is the bridge. Okay, and this is the bridge IP. So now we have a bridge. The next thing is so basically what we did to the previous networks are the same thing we are going to apply to the bridge as well. The only difference is now we are working on a bridge, but it's the same procedure. So you come to DHCP Server and then locate the interface, which is the bridge. I don't know if it's going to work. Okay, so I guess we need to take it out and then redo it again. So I have my DHCP server here. Interface is OWUUBII. The bridge interface. Okay, the same procedure as the previous one. Yes. So now I'm done. So now we're able to create networks on each port of the router board interface, and also created a bridged network. Okay, so if I should switch in between cables to the to the next port, I'm going to receive the same IP address. I've switched. I'm logging in back, and as you can see, it's active on port 3 now because I just changed it. You see, and I'm receiving the same IP. This is it. So we've come to an end to the basic configuration of Mikrotik RouterBoard. We will be going through more in the subsequent lessons I'll be coming up with. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my channel for more videos.